Temple Run is a game that almost everyone watching this video has played at least once. It was the game that started the era of 3D endless running games. By 2014, it had become one of the few titles to cross 1 billion downloads. But today, almost no one talks about it. So what happened that caused Temple Run to lose around 96% of its popularity? I will explain everything in this nostalgia-filled video. And now that Temple Run 3 has received a soft launch, I thought this would be the perfect time to make a video about the rise and fall of this series and how its decline actually began. Before understanding the fall, we need to understand the rise, meaning how Temple Run became so popular. By 2009, a few endless running games had started appearing in the market, but they were 2D flash games where you only had to avoid obstacles while the character kept running automatically. Games like Cannibalt, Robot Unicorn Attack, and many others had different themes, but the basic mechanic was almost the same. You jumped to avoid obstacles. Cannibalt is considered the first game of this genre. Even Google's T-Rex game is a 2D endless runner, released in 2014. But that came much later. The reason for mentioning all this is that Adam introduced the endless runner genre with Cannibalt, but at that time it didn't become extremely popular or a part of mainstream culture. But then a husband and wife were about to revolutionize the endless running genre. Imanji Studios is the company that created Temple Run, but its journey actually began in 2008 when a couple, Keith Shepard and Natalia Lukianova, started it together. They were joined by Kirill Chiangov, who worked as a game artist. In the beginning, the team made a few small games like Imanji Word Squares and Harbor Master, but none of them performed very well. They earned a little revenue, but nothing significant. They had no idea that their luck was about to change. On 4 August 2011, they launched Temple Run. Before this, they had already made 7 games, and their last game, Max Adventure, was a commercial flop. Because of this, they reused that game's engine to develop Temple Run and released it as a paid title on the iOS App Store. At first, the game did okay. It received a decent response and even reached the top 50 paid charts, which meant people were liking it and downloads were slowly increasing. Then the team made a bold decision, a decision that would become the best choice of their lives. They made the game free to play. Yes, in December 2011, Temple Run was made free for everyone, and the rest is history. It became the #1 free app on iOS and even entered the list of top-grossing iOS apps. At that time, a team of only 3 people had overtaken a giant company like Zynga in terms of popularity. The next year, when the Android version was released, it crossed 1 million downloads in just 3 days. Imanji was no longer a 3-person team. It was turning into a proper startup with many developers joining. They even started releasing toys, comic books, and other merchandise. Big brands also began partnering with them. In June 2012, it was announced that Disney Pixar had partnered with Imanji to promote the movie Brave, and they released Temple Run Brave. It included movie locations, characters, and a new archery feature, while the rest of the game was mostly a reskinned version of Temple Run. But even then, the game performed extremely well. They did another collaboration with Disney to promote the movie Oz the Great and Powerful, which led to the release of Temple Run Oz in 2013. Around that time, Usain Bolt from Jamaica used to play Temple Run to relax before his races. When Imanji found out, they collaborated with him and added his character to the game. In January 2013, they released Temple Run 2. Some people said there was no need for a sequel, but the developers explained that they couldn't add new features to the original game anymore, so they had to create a new one. And this time, they actually delivered new features like zip lines, mine carts, waterfalls, and new environments. The first game was set in an ancient temple inspired by the Great Wall of China, but this time they introduced completely new locations. Instead of being chased by multiple demon monkeys, players were now running from one large demon monkey. The graphics were much better, and the overall gameplay felt more fun, which is why critics gave it good ratings. Players loved it too, so much so that the game crossed 20 million downloads within just 4 days of release. By 2014, Temple Run and Temple Run 2 together had crossed 1 billion downloads, but the developers had no idea that this was exactly where the downfall of the Temple Run franchise would begin. In 2016, a new Temple Run game was announced called Temple Run Treasure Hunters, developed in collaboration with Scopely and released in 2017. If you've played it or even watched the trailer, you'll notice it doesn't feel like the original Temple Run. You're still running with an ancient artifact, but now there are puzzles you need to solve to progress. You can guess which game inspired these changes. This game was very different from the original Temple Run franchise, so it didn't perform as well as expected. Its launch didn't significantly increase the franchise's popularity either. In 2018, Temple Run 2 crossed 500 million downloads on the Google Play Store. After that, another Temple Run game, Temple Run Idle Explorers, was released. If you watch its trailer, it feels like the casual mobile games that are popular nowadays. Interestingly, this game wasn't even promoted much, not on their website or the Play Store page, though you could find it by searching. One reason for the downfall was that the developers stopped making original-style endless runners and started creating completely different types of games. After 2014, no proper Temple Run-style game was released. Then, many copycat games started appearing. If you make a copy of a game like GTA or Minecraft, it doesn't really affect the original game, but Temple Run was different. It was all about running non-stop. Seeing its success, many clones appeared, like Pyramid Run, Zombie Run, and others that were almost exact copies. Some games weren't direct clones but were inspired by it, like Agent Dash or Subway Surfers. Subway Surfers, in fact, was inspired by Temple Run, but its popularity far surpasses Temple Run. While Temple Run was declining, Subway Surfers was reaching its all-time high. This hurt Temple Run a lot because no matter which of these games you played, the experience was similar. Playing Pyramid Run or Temple Run gave almost the same feel. The developers even admitted that at first it was flattering to see so many clones, but later some games had to be removed due to copyright issues. By then, however, it was already too late. The clone games had already done their damage. Another point is that Imanji couldn't really innovate in this genre. After Temple Run 2, they didn't release anything truly new, and what did come out was often copied from others. They also couldn't expand the franchise much. Yes, they did plan some merchandise and even a movie with Warner Brothers, but that never happened because Temple Run's popularity was already declining. Games like Temple Run aren't played for long periods, and the developers weren't releasing significant new updates. The original Temple Run, now called Temple Run Classic, didn't get any updates, while Temple Run 2 has continued to receive some updates, which helped the game survive to some extent. But credit must go to Imanji Studios, because they did something no one had imagined. They turned endless runners into a cultural phenomenon. Temple Run wasn't the first game of its kind. Back in 1999, a game called Pepsi Man was released on PlayStation, which was also a runner game. However, Temple Run popularized the 3D endless running genre. Subway Surfers also contributed, but almost all the endless runner games that came after were inspired by these. Big franchises launched their own endless runner games, like Crash Bandicoot, On the Run, Super Mario Run, and Sonic Dash. Even movies started creating endless runners to promote themselves, like Jumanji and the Hunger Games, Catching Fire. So they deserve credit for making our childhood so much fun. Many of you can probably relate to this, how we used to play this game a lot, competing with friends to see who could get the highest score. We would play it on the way back from school, taking the phone from our parents' hands, and even at home we couldn't stop playing. Those were the days. Now let's talk about the future of Imanji Studios and Temple Run. The developers are still releasing updates for Temple Run 2, including Indian-themed maps and characters. The game remains popular in India, Pakistan, South Asia, and African countries. And now Temple Run 3 is here. This time, the game includes the classic running action along with new mechanics. Old locations like Doom Lagoon have returned with upgraded graphics and a fresh look. Each hero has unique abilities, and players can now recruit pets that provide special skills and perks. Currently, the game is in a quiet, soft launch on both iOS and Android, but only in select regions like Indonesia, the Philippines, Thailand, and Turkey. The response so far has been quite positive, and based on the updates, a global release seems likely soon. However, if Temple Run wants to become popular again, it will likely need social media trends to boost it, just like Subway Surfers or Getting Over It went viral again. If that happens, Imanji Studios could leverage its popularity to create movies, animated shows, and spin-offs, much like Angry Birds did. And that's it for this video. If you want to learn about the rise of the Red Dead series, click on the right video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next interesting video.